What's going on, y'all? It's your boy June Archer here, the Winner Circle. Motivate you here on thisis50.com. My guest today, comedian and actress extraordinaire. And I'm telling you, she's going to be executive producing the heck out of some movies and some comedy shows coming up on whatever thing that you're streaming on that's popular at the moment. Please welcome to the show, Aida Rodriguez. Aida, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Man, I am so excited to have you. Big fan of what you're doing. And I want to talk about the thing that really gets me excited about you as a comedian is the stories that you tell and the affinity that you have to the village. And when I say village,
yes,
you talk a lot about your grandmother in your comedy. How important is it to include your village, and how important is it to have a village as we're raising our young people these days?
Why you hit me with the first question and making me tear up? Like I'm just like, I didn't come here for this. I feel like Rod Tidwell in Jerry Maguire. So this is, it's so important. My grandmother is everywhere around. Like everything I have up is because it reminds me of my grandmother. I come from a marginalized community. I come from the ghetto, the hood, whatever y'all call it now. And I grew up in a community with people that were there from all levels of the spectrum. So from people that graduated from college to people who were drug dealers on the corner. And all of those people protected our community and guarded us who were there. And so, my brother played baseball, and sometimes he needed shoes or just the kind of things that people that are not from where we come from don't understand what our villages mean to us. But what I try to articulate every time, I get really emotional about it, is that a lot of people look down on the people in our communities because they don't have, the pedigree that they think they should have. But all of those people are the ones who work so hard so that we can have something in life. And so for me, it is always so important to give them a voice, because to you, they may be undesirables or derelicts or uneducated people or poor people. But to me, they are everything. I'm everything I am because those people love me. My grandmother didn't know how to read, but it was so important for me to go to college so that I could, because to her perception, I would have a better life of having an education that she was never able to have. So the village is everything. And it's where we come from. Like it's one of the things that were taken away from us. And it was, they tried to exterminate that in us and create dissent between women and men. And now you see it play out in so many of the conversations. And that we have to go back. What's organic to us is that we are a village, that women and men were both powerful and necessary for our kingdoms to thrive. And, for young people now who are reconnecting with the concept of what a village is. So when you see those people out there protesting that are young, and you see them out there with all their friends, and if you're my friend and you white, you got to march with me. It's just we're recreating that because it is essential. This individual thinking has not helped us in any way. We've devolved as a humanity. And if you look at this COVID phenomenon, then you understand that we do need each other, because if we continue to just think about ourselves, we're going to kill everybody. Because if we don't have a collective mentality and we don't think about everybody around us, where are we going? And so the village is essential to our survival and our success. And we can never let anybody misguide us into believing that is not the case.
Now, your grandmother, from the stories that we've been hearing from you, a very strong figure as a pillar in your family, and obviously definitely has to be in the community. Right behind you is another strong figured woman, Miss Celia Cruz. For
Yep.
you, how important is it as a woman, one, Aida, two, as a woman of color, comedian, to make sure that there are positive role models and representation for our young women of color on television and on film?
Well, it's so funny because white people have Grey's Anatomy and Honey Boo Boo and everything in between. So they have an opportunity to see a reflection of all of themselves and everything that they do. And if they can't identify with Duck Dynasty because that's, lower thirds thinking to them, they can turn on and watch the BBC and see people who look like them talking about cerebral world issues. With us, they try to relegate us to stereotypes and tropes. And so it is very important for us. I mean, so important for us to see images of ourselves in a positive light. When you think about white supremacy and how it works, it's not just, well, you can't get a loan for in the bank for a house. And it's not just you have the worst books at your school for a math class. It's also everywhere you look, if you see an image of yourself and the image that you see is always an image of you being a subordinate of a white person, you're a maid, you're a prostitute, you're in jail, and listen, everybody has that in their group,
right?
But that's all you see. It affects the subconscious mind. And I am a metaphysical thinker. I do believe in the programming of your subconscious mind. Those of us who operate on this frequency know that it's real because you can see it play out in everything that's going on in the world right now. So for young women of color, young Black women, young brown women, not to see images of themselves in a positive light and positions of power does affect their subconscious mind. So it's very important. It's so important that we write them. When we write, someone like myself, when I have a writer's room and I'm writing stories about Black women and women of color, to make sure that there are dark-skinned Black women in the room to tell the stories from the perspective of a dark-skinned Black woman, not to think that I could just do everything and say, let me just tell this story. I just think we have to stop being tone deaf, acknowledging our privilege where we are in the spectrum. Like I'm a light skin, whatever they call me now, woman. And I have a certain
Puerto Rican, just so
they come out with all, every week. The Wu-Tang gave us that one, right? That was Raekwon. But the texture of my hair and all of this colorism stuff, like we have to just take all of this into account when we're doing our storytelling, because we have no idea how imaging is so important. Our kids are always watching, they're either on the phone or watching television. They're constantly being programmed by the images that they see. So it's very important for us to see a reflection of ourselves. And listen, I'm never going to shame women. So Cardi B is the story of the American dream. And so is Megan Thee Stallion, who's a college student that did not, Cardi B was a stripper that came up in the ranks one way, and Megan is a college educated woman, and MC Lyte was a woman who chose to rap about things that didn't have to do with sexuality, and Queen Latifah, elevated us with a lot of conscious messages. So if we can have the whole spectrum, then we okay, right? Because now we have somewhere that everyone can identify and see a reflection of themselves. The problem with us is that when it comes to women specifically, they love to sexualize us. They always like to show us in a manner where we are the object of somebody else's, affection and attention. And that does affect the way we see ourselves and how we move forward with those images.
Now, I don't want to pigeonhole you in just being a comedian. Off stage, we were talking about today being celebrated as Tamir Rice's birthday and Breonna Taylor's, those who brutally took her life, still no justice. For those who are looking for the light at the end of the tunnel, Aida, what is the best piece of advice that you've been given, or the best piece of advice that you could share with anybody who's going through something and they're watching these things on television and they're saying, I need hope. I don't know what to do now. They're not certain where they can turn. What is the best piece of advice, words of wisdom, or key to success that you could share with somebody who's watching or listening today?
What's funny is when Charlemagne did my show, he said that he hates when people say, I am not my ancestors, because that is indicating that our ancestors were soft, right? So I think about it from the perspective, you're Jamaican, I'm Puerto Rican and Dominican. We are descendants of slaves by another way. We're not American descendants of slaves, but we are descendants of slaves. And if anybody thought that the British or the Spanish were any nicer to their slaves than the Americans here, you are sadly mistaken. Nonetheless, what happened in the United States was brutal. And still continues to be brutal. And we will not deny that this systemic oppression that's been happening, which is worldwide, has been, unmatched in America. But in that same, from that same perspective, if you look at, I watched Roots, right, when I was little, and I hated it, right? But that was just a peek into what really happened during slavery. Right? You think about babies being thrown into alligator pits, or babies getting tied to horses in the Caribbean and dragged by the colonizers. And you think about all of the things from slavery, the 1600s, you think about Jim Crow, you think about everything, and we're still here. So that it's just been, I get reminded of that all the time, because like my grandmother came here in the 50s, and she went right into the civil rights movement when they were hosing Black people and they were chasing them with dogs, and she was a Black woman, and she had two things against her because she was Puerto Rican, and they hated Puerto Ricans in America in that time. Not that they really love them now, but that time it was really hard. The signs would say no Black people, no Puerto Ricans, no dogs, no, and I just think about the fact that we're still standing, and that in this moment, the census said that in 2044, the majority of the people are going to look like me and you, is indicative that we're not going anywhere, which is why you see them acting up right now, because they're like, oh, we're going to be outnumbered. They're going to do the same thing to us. So that's what I hold on to hope, because if you think about, like, we're out here marching, and they've been doing some horrible things. But you think about getting dogs biting you, or getting hosed with that pressure of a water hose, and we're still here. We are still here.
Still standing. Still standing.
So if you see what's happening right now, and they trying to gaslight you and make you feel like, ooh, this is doom. It's not, because melanin is divine, and we're not going anywhere. So that's what I hold on to. I'm like,
I love it.
Not even this time, y'all gonna get us.
I love it. I think it's important to share those messages and that love, because we get so wrapped up into social media and media, and the narrative has to change. And sometimes if you can't change the narrative, just change the channel. And if you can't change the channel because you're so immersed in it, then turn it off altogether.
Absolutely.
That's me. I want to talk to you about Tiffany Haddish.
Nice.
How important, because there are people who are looking to fulfill their dreams. They're looking to get that shot. This young lady had a platform, and she reached down and she grabbed you and some other women and pulled you up on that platform. Yes, some of you were struggling. Some of you working comedians just trying to get it to the next day. Sometimes we hear stories, whether it's television or comedy, people sleeping in their cars. Tiffany slept in her car, and someone reached down and pulled her up. Somebody named Kevin Hart. She reached down and pulled you up. How important is it to mentor people to, when you get to a certain level? Because sometimes it's the fear of success. Aida, some people are like, well, I didn't make it yet. I can't very well help.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Right? How important was it when you got that call? How did you feel? And how important is mentorship?
So the call, I knew was coming because she and I were always in touch, and we talked about it. When it actually manifested, I was impressed in the time that she was able to do it. Because she did it right when, she had just she just had been catapulted into fame. Everything was really new. Her schedule changed. She was really busy. And I didn't think she was going to be able to do it in the amount when she did it, because I was like, she can. She's got all these movies going on, but I know her heart is in the right place, and she'll eventually do it. She and I have always talked about that. I mean, this came from a pact that we made when we were doing Last Comic Standing, and I was on Last Comic Standing, and she was on a show called Funniest Wins. And you never know when the moment is going to be your moment, and that and so I'm on NBC and she was on TBS. And we were like, whoever goes first got to throw the rope back. Like we just got to remember that this is our pact. And nothing happened for either of us after that show, either of the shows, because that was what it was. And we went back to our morning phone calls of, we would do these morning phone calls where we would share affirmations. She would share like these subconscious tones with me and things that when I would get down, and we would pray together. Like we used to have all these, just like a whole bunch of stuff going on that we would talk in the morning. I would always call her because I was taking my kids to school, and Tiff would always be up early. Like she's always been a hard worker, thinking about how she's going to get it, where most comedians sleep until like noon because they're out late.
Right.
I think it's important to mentor people in a way that you have to, yourself. First of all, your self-esteem, you have to build from the inside out, right? You build it from the things that are concrete and real. For me, that's always been the work that I've had to do, because I don't operate in superficial spaces. So for me, it's always been, my grandmother used to tell me, they can't take this away from you. They can't take it. They cannot take this away from you. And it's always stayed with me. So if you are a comedian or an actor or a doctor, and you see someone who's a rising star and you can give them a hand up, and they may happen to be bigger than you, wouldn't it be great to know that you participated in like elevating a star to its proper place? Mm-hmm. Like everything isn't for you, like I was well okay with having to accept the reality that I probably would never be J-Lo, and I started doing this. I've been in this business for 20 years, and I was like, yo, like they pick one. So she's a Puerto Rican now, and she's been the Puerto Rican for a long time.
For a very long time. For a very long time.
Yeah, but it was like, that's J-Lo's, that's not Aida's. What's for me is different, because my heroes are different. Like I've never idolized, I've never idolized people like that. My idols are Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali. Like when I was little, I used to walk around, thinking that I got to meet Muhammad Ali, and it was just, I spent time with him. I had baklava with him, and it was something that like I can never, but for me, it's always been about, my message and what I stand for and what I believe in, meeting my art. And so the people that I always look up to are those people. Like, people still quote Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali. Like they still quote Richard Pryor and George Carlin. So for me, it's always been about being great, making sure that my message meets up with my art so that I can give it out. And it's so important to share that with other people, because some people do want to be the next J-Lo.
Yeah.
They want to be the Beyonce. Why wouldn't you give a hand to them to go to do that? Like, the fear of, my grandmother used to always hate greedy people, and she always used to do this thing for me. She said, you see this? When you hold it like this, nothing comes out, but nothing comes in. So don't be greedy.
Wow, I like that.
So that's how I think about, opportunities. And, a lot of the younger comedians will tell you, anytime somebody calls me and says, hey, do you know somebody that's good for this? I always send a list. Even when I don't like somebody, I always elevate them. I may not like them personally, but I still want to see them win, because it's not mine to take away. It's just not.
You end up blocking your own blessings just because you want to block somebody else's blessings.
Absolutely.
And that's super important. I don't think people really get that concept where it's like, well, I don't really hate them. Well, you don't really love them. And you don't have to love them in the sense of like you have this affinity, but just to want to see everybody win, like you just said. You just want to see people win and do well and represent what you guys do. You're a practitioner of your field. And to see other women of color, Puerto Rican, Black, Dominican, whatever it is, just win and give it a hand back. But I want to ask you this then. I always had this saying that I picked up a long time ago. If you hang with 9 broke friends, you're bound to be the 10th one.
Yes.
Right. So with all these affirmations that you and Tiffany were going back and forth with, and I'm certain there were other people, and your grandmother, we talked about the village a few minutes ago. How important is it to have that positive environment around you in order to succeed? Because there's people who their spouse is negative, and you know what? I don't know why you just won't get a real job. I don't know. You've been doing this 20 years, Aida. I don't know why you just won't get a best friend, sister, mother, the list goes on, co-worker, right? Yep. How important is it to have like-minded people around you when you're striving to figure out what that big picture idea is for you that you want to be able to conquer?
So I'll be honest with you. If you would have asked me that question 10 years ago, I would have said it's very important to, I used to say, surround yourself with people who are operating at higher levels than you and then rise to the occasion. But in the last few years, when you're just doing the work and studying, we have a lot of expectations of people that are around us who haven't had the benefit of a lot of things in life because the system has been set up for them not to. And so I try to extend grace and understanding to some of the people who may not understand the grasp of what I want because their self-esteem and their intellect doesn't allow it. And I don't like to shun people away because sometimes I'm the person that you are around that's going to make you rise to the occasion. And sometimes we just got to be that for each other because white people are not going to do it for us. I mean, we have some, you have white people who do look out or whatever, but we don't have the same, fraternity and sorority that white people have in America and throughout the world. It's very important to do. I am connected to a lot of people who are like-minded. My best friends have always been my friends since I was little, and none of them are in this business. One of my best friends is an engineer who works for Beyond Meat. And she's like one of the highest Black women in that corporate structure.
Oh, shout out to her because I'm vegan. So shout out to her. Like we
gotta talk.
Yeah, tell her I love her.
She's dope, man. She's been my friend for a long time. And my best friend from my childhood is a publicist who's worked with like Rick Ross. But my friends are not in the entertainment business per se, or they're not entertainers. So they've always demanded that I see the business part of what I'm doing, because the artist in me will get so romanticized by the business and the art that my friend who's an engineer is like, yo, what's up with the savings? What's up with the credit? Make sure that let's stay in line with the things that are important in life, and so that we can make sure that our kids and our kids are well. And so I mean, I am around some really brilliant women. And, it's funny because I see these reality shows perpetuating these stereotypes about Black women. Yeah. And I hang out. All my best friends are, African-American Black. My best friend is Caribbean. Her mother is from the island of Dominica, and her father is from St. Croix. But my Black American friends and all of us, because we all call ourselves Black. We just say you Plantain Black, you Mississippi Black, but none of them act like that. Like when I see these shows, I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know these women.
And I'm sure some people do, but it's just like that whole concept that Black women and brown women are all ready to fight. Like I'm quick to correct somebody. Somebody told another comedian, hey, don't talk about Aida like that because she'll kick your ass. And I was like, no, Aida won't. I'm not going to jail for assault and battery to prove your trope.
I'm not trying to drag you. I just want to make sure we get something straight. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. So yeah, I think it's important to study who you are around, but I also think it's important to study why you're around the people that you're around, because once you start ascending and you start developing a level of success, people who normally would never look your way start crowding around you and start trying to push out the people that were there before. And so for me, in this business, like as I'm developing some level of success, you're not gonna I ain't getting rid of the homies that have been with me from back in the day. I hand out books to the team and say, I need y'all to be sharp and we gotta elevate. And this is what we're going to do, because I know that at the end of the day, they're going to have my back and I'm going to always be able to go home to them instead of being surrounded by a bunch of people who only want to be in your presence because you are currently successful and doing well.
Because you're winning now. But
yeah,
when it gets a little tough, those people seem to kind of dissipate
Oh, especially in Hollywood.
Oh man, listen,
That's high
especially in
school.
the music business. Trust me.
Oh yeah, yes.
25 years. I've seen it. I've seen it all.
Yeah.
Music is a soundtrack to our life. For you, what is a song that best describes your journey up to this point, or that song that you put on right before you hit the stage, or right when you like, you know what, I'm gonna go up, I'm gonna wake up, and I'm gonna get ready to I'm gonna kill this audition. I'm gonna get this day going.
I'm just gonna pull up this playlist. I got a whole playlist for that. I'm a hip hop head, always have been. And let me tell you something. I got a playlist called We Gon' Make It. And it has Kanye West, Touch the Sky, More Money, More Problems, Big, Blackout, which I love, by DMC, Jay-Z, and The Lox, Encore by Jay-Z.
Of course.
The Morning by Raekwon, Pusha T, Common, 2 Chainz, and We Gon' Make It by Jadakiss and Styles.
Shout out to my brother Styles P. Yes.
Yes. So I love The Lox. I'm gonna
tell Styles P you said that then.
Yo, let me tell you, those are some of the best. I'm a writer to my heart. Like as a comedian, as an actress, I'm a writer. So, and I love lyrical ammo, and Styles P and Jada, like
bars.
Man, like, ooh, yo, I love them. So yeah.
Right. So that gives us a great segue. So Aida, welcome to this game I've been playing. It's called University of Dope.
Okay.
So we're gonna start. The first card is Lights, Camera, Action. Best film with a rapper in it. A, Belly. B, Paid in Full. C, Boys in the Hood. Or D, Set It Off.
Set It Off.
All right.
Sorry. And I loved Paid in Full, but ooh.
Best Thug Love collaboration. Always on Time, Ja Rule featuring Ashanti. You're All I Need, Method Man and Mary. What's it gonna be, Busta and Janet Jackson? Or Best of Me, Maya and Jay-Z?
Ooh, Queen wear the crown and be down for whatever. What? I was like Method and Mary. And I love that remix with Jay-Z and Maya, but I gotta love Jones for your body and your skin.
5 minutes alone, I'm already on.
That's that song is my best song dedicated to your moms.
Miss Jackson, Outkast, Hey Mama, Kanye West, All I Got Is You, Ghostface, or Dear Mama, Tupac?
Pac, Dear Mama. Sorry.
All right. Here's how it gets tricky now, Aida. Here we go. Erase one person from hip hop history. Queen Latifah, MC Lyte, Lauryn Hill, or Missy Elliott?
All right. So, this is horrible. I got to do this. These are women. How am I going to do this? It's hard. I don't know. I can't do that one.
Come on, D Nice. I put him on the spot. I put Peter Guns on the spot. I gotta put you on the spot.
So listen, so Lauryn Hill can't go anywhere. And I don't care how many albums she had. Her album made like history and such an impact. And Zion is my life story. So no.
I like how you talking this out. So
let's see. Missy did. So Missy was more fun music, but what she did, first of all, Missy can produce, and how many women can produce?
I like how you talking through this, Aida. I love it. So what we got?
I cram to understand. I would have to go. Latifah would have to go. I'm sorry. What did you say?
Who is winning a jailhouse brawl? The Brat, Remy Ma, Young M.A., or Foxy Brown?
I mean, the Brat already won one. So I would say Remy Ma, Foxy, the Brat, Young M.A. Like, I think Remy, because Remy is the one you never see coming. Right. And Remy is the one that said, I'll come to your house. Like, I believe like an empty wagon makes a lot of noise. When people do all that rah, rah, rah.
They're just talking to be talking. They just
But I
talking to
think Remy looking beautiful will still show up at your house
exactly.
and murder you.
Talking about BX in the building.
Yeah.
All right. Last one for you today. Erase one from hip hop history. Nas, B.I.G., Tupac, or Jay-Z?
From hip hop history, well, Pac and Big ain't going nowhere. I mean, shoot. Nas, you talking about? This is tough. I would think Nas would have to go.
Nas have to go?
Oh, yeah,
Right.
I mean, that's a hard one. Nas is so important to the culture, but with Jay-Z, yeah, I would. I know they don't kill me saying that. This is tough. That one's, hey man, look, I'm trying my best.
Listen, there's no right or wrong answer. It's all in good fun. That game was brought to us by University of Dope. I'll make sure I send you a copy of that game so you and your peoples can play.
You better.
And you can play with Tiffany. So I got you. I got you. We're gonna before we get off, I'm gonna make sure I get the address. I'm gonna talk to your people. We're gonna have one sent out to you. Before I let you go, I had so much fun with you.
Same.
I want you to, because I love the stories of your grandmother. If your grandmother could tell somebody right now how to go get that bag, what would she say, and how would she say it in Spanish?
She would say, llévate el revólver y ve. She used to say it. Llévate el revólver y vete a buscarme el dinero mío. Y si tú no lo vas a buscar y no me lo traes, yo te voy a dar un tiro a ti.
And break that down for those who don't understand Spanish.
So my grandmother was a landlady. She was a super in the buildings. And she used to send us to get the money. And she will say, take my pistol and go get my money. And if you don't come back with my money, I'm going to shoot you.
I love it. I love it. Where can we see you next? What's coming up for you that we can check for you? And where can people follow you?
So I'm on, right now I'm on the show called, I've been on the show called TBS. TBS is Tournament of Laughs. It's a competition show, but we raising money for COVID and Black Lives Matter. So if I made it to the next round, I'll be on not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. So make sure you vote for me. And then on Fridays, tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific time, I have a show called Truth Serum, where we talk about social issues and political issues, not from not from a political party standpoint, but from the perspective of people of color. It's 12 p.m. Pacific time on YouTube, Facebook. We use the same platform here. And you can find me at Funny AIDA on Instagram and on Twitter, and on Facebook is my first name, AIDA.Rodriguez.
There it is, folks. My guest today, Aida Rodriguez. Make sure you vote for her. We want her to go on to the next round. We want to see her in some more TV shows, more TV specials, Netflix and movies.
No, not Netflix. My new special is going to be, I have a deal with HBO Max. So I'm working with them. And then thank you to Netflix. My time there was great. They treated me well. I love them. Tiffany, Wanda Sykes, everybody who looked out. But I have a deal, and I'm working on a half-hour sitcom as well at HBO Max. So
that's amazing. Listen, I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you.
I love you. Keep doing what you're doing, and we're gonna be right behind you. I'm voting. Listen, I'm speaking it into existence. You get into the next round, so we're not even going. That's nothing to talk about right now. We're gonna put that out into the universe. So listen, like she said, make sure you surround yourself with like-minded people. Get the village concept back, people. I'm telling you, and stay focused. And when you get the opportunity to get to that next level, reach down and grab somebody. I promise you, it'll be a blessing to them, and it'll be a blessing to you. Aida, thank you so much. This is June Archer for the Winner Circle. Motivate you. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all be good. Peace.
Yo, that was so fun.